You were the first Asian to win, or were you the first Asian with all Asian dishes to win?
I am the first Asian and the first Asian to represent Asia with Asian dishes to win this competition. My name is Ian. People know me as a chef. I'm also the World Young Chef Young Waiter winner of 2023.
The world champion are Singapore!
So I was known as the kid who was running around the house. I couldn't get things to do. So the only way my domestic helper to get me to just shut up and maybe be a bit more productive with my chores was to help out in the kitchen. From that onwards, I never kind of stopped.
How would you compare your kitchen to that of TV shows, MasterChef or Hell's Kitchen?
The media industry has portrayed the kitchen in a manner whereby it can be somewhat very, very negative. I don't feel that way. My kitchen experiences somewhat have been... This is a lot of the gist of the kitchen nowadays that people don't understand.
How does it feel to be the best?
Truth be told, the only feeling I had in my heart was sincerely...
If you're to host a foreign friend in Singapore,
where am I supposed to bring them to eat?
Yes, exactly.
Can I answer your question with a question? What is your budget?
Ian, why not? You introduce yourself. What do you do? What have you been up to lately?
Hi, hello, good evening, very good Sunday evening to you. My name is Ian. My profession mainly revolves around two things. First and foremost, I am a professional edible plant murderer. Otherwise, people know me as a chef. I'm also the World Young Chef Young Waiter winner of 2023, and a very, very happy and proud Singaporean.
Beautiful. That is a very short and sweet introduction.
Thank you.
Plant murderer. A lot of vegetarians will not be happy to hear that.
They'd be more than happy to find out.
Okay, but do you do any vegetarian food? Any recipes you get up to for vegetarians?
I honestly feel that they all have a place. All kinds of food have their place. If they're meant to be of a certain subject, they should be treated a certain way, then they should. I will honestly, with the depth of knowledge I'm equipped with and the experience, I will let the produce tell me what to do. So let's say a pumpkin in winter and a pumpkin in summer will talk to you two different messages. So one will be higher in the sugar content, one is ready to hibernate, one is just out from hibernation. What should you do with it, and what should you go along with? Should it be in the dessert? Should it be with pork? Should it be with scallops? It will tell you. Yeah.
Beautiful. That's what I like.
Mm.
All right. So I mean, that's some knowledge there. So let's get started, right? I want to know.
All right.
How do you get started in cooking? Where did it all begin? What prompted you? What made you pursue this journey to become the chef that you are now?
I really hate to tell people that it's like a very grandmother-ish kind of story, but I have to say that it's very grandmother-like, but the grandmother figure in terms of culinary in my life happens to be my domestic helper from a long, long time ago. So her name is Grita Lumanto. So if you're hearing this, thank you very much for your culinary guidance. So she is from Manado, Sulawesi. She's been my domestic helper since I was 5 years old. So I was known as the kid who was running around the house. I couldn't get things to do. I cried if my parents not at home because I was so bored. I couldn't get around. So the only way she could find to get me to just shut up and maybe be a bit more productive with my chores was to help out in the kitchen. So she tried to get something a little bit more safe for me. It started from like chopping garlics, slicing onions, peeling shallots, washing dishes and everything. And you hear stories about famous Italian chefs running around their grandmother's kind of pasta tables, and I would say eventually find themselves into professional kitchens. And this would be one of the stories. She figured that I had too much energy. So she just let me do whatever I needed to do. From that onwards, I never kind of stopped. And as I got to see my handiwork get turned into good tasting food as I progressed along the years, uh, it was really engaging. I really enjoyed every moment of it, and I can't be thankful enough that I get to do this as a job.
Wonderful. I mean, that's really great
Hmm.
story. I mean, it's a first that I've heard, to be
Oh,
honest. I
really?
know maybe it might seem common, but yeah. So your domestic helper, she, where is that? Philippines? She's from the Philippines?
She's from Manado, Sulawesi.
Oh, where's that?
It's a very small island in Indonesia. They
Indonesia.
are
Okay.
extremely famous for this variety of produce
Mhm.
called ikan. I forgot what it's called, but it's a smoked half big something. So it's a
Okay.
garfish or ikan roa. So
Mhm.
it's a half big garfish which they fish, they dry under the sun, and they smoke it. It gets this very nice smoky, earthy, saline flavor where they put into sambals, and that recipe and influence actually was one of the components in the dishes that I presented for my championships inside Monaco and got me the world title. I'm
I see.
ever grateful.
Fantastic. All right, then you're saying you were alone back then, so a domestic helper made you, get rid of that energy by getting you to cut
Hmm.
some ingredients and stuff. So what, were you the only child back then? Are you an only child? Do you have siblings or?
I have a sister. She is 8 years older than I am.
I see.
So practically pretty much at the point of time when I was five, she's probably in secondary school already.
Mhm.
So on the bulk of the day, she wouldn't be at home. So here I am, preschool, fresh out of school at 1 p.m. while she's hanging out with her friends and asking my helper what's for dinner.
Nice. Okay, so you
Yeah.
mentioned you won the title, right? World Young Chef
Hmm.
in
Yeah,
2023 in Monaco with your team, right? Was it
absolutely.
so okay, so I just want to ask, how does it
Yeah.
feel? How does it feel to be the best, the world young chef, to win the World Young Chef Award?
I am absolutely humbled. Behind every stroke of luck, I honestly feel that there was a lot of hard work put in, and thankfully, so it was a huge team effort thing. So it was super spectacular to say the least. When Singapore was announced, I leapt so high off my chair. I My soon to be fiance, my partner, actually called me straight after. The first question she asked me was like, "How are your pants?"
Oh, your
Because it was
pants.
the it was the first gala dinner I've ever attended. So it was the first pair of suit I tailored. So suit commune, Aaron, thank you if you're hearing this. Yeah, the pants are okay by the way. So after the huge celebrations, truth be told, the only feeling I had in my heart was sincerely gratitude. I'm I highly believe like this competition, the beauty of it, winning this thing was not a single person effort. Like it was not a one person thing. You had a young chef, you had a young waiter, you had the young mixologist, and behind the scenes, aside from all your competition partners, you had your chef and your chef mentors. And I just have so much to thank. One of them being Belle Torres, from Restaurant Zen, as well as Zana Monen. She's a head bartender at Manhattan Bar. If you drop by, do say hello. My chef mentors, Chef Madeline Tang, most kick-ass female lady in Singapore you ever know. She is, she has been running a restaurant in Singapore called Max Wine and Kitchen for 28 years.
Wow.
29 years in 2024. And she, aside from kicking my ass, she absolutely mentored me throughout, as well as Chef Paul Longworth for spending so much time and effort putting in all the heart and soul. Chef Paul Longworth, just a side story, he runs a one Michelin star restaurant called Rhubarb at Duxton Hill. It's closed every Wednesday and Sunday. So he lives in Clementi. He literally biked down. He rode a bike, like
Yeah.
bicycle bike, rode down from Clementi just to open a restaurant for us to test out his recipe, test out my recipes to give us 2 cents. Popped a couple of wines, advised us on wine pairing, and just restaurant and its expenses. It's not really cheap these days, and he just like it's just the gratitude that's boiling in me. Aside from mentors, also to be very frank and sincere to my country, to Singapore. Because Singapore, without being a person that grew up in Singapore, I wouldn't have able to have the experience of such a diverse food culture. And it's honestly owing to that that I was being able to pluck out a lot of kind of Southeast Asian influences. We had Indonesian, we had Peranakan, we had all sorts, even like French kind of like dessert techniques that were worked into the dish, as well as a new Nordic style of hospitality. Well, the only first world problems we get is not knowing what to eat, having to choose what we have to eat. So as much as I complain about the humidity and the weather, at the end of the day, just like every heartlander, I feel very indebted and very proud to be a Singaporean. That's how I felt.
100%. I feel the same way too. Is what I always tell people, my foreign friends, my local friends, the three things that I always am very appreciative of Singapore. If I were to condense it down, is family, friends, safety, and the last one would be food.
But not the weather. But not the weather.
Definitely not. I like you. I'm also complain a lot. My friends will know that I dislike the humidity a lot. That's a very big reason why I don't like to step out of the house.
Uh-huh.
But like when I was doing my graduate studies in Australia, I was a totally different person because the weather was good. You step out of the house, you get to see nature, you get to experience, good weather, good food, good cafes, good restaurants. And you don't you step out and then straight away the heat comes in and you just it feels bad. But no, but just going back to what you've mentioned about
Yes.
that whole paragraph of what you just mentioned, I can really feel that sense of immense gratitude from the heart. I mean, you thanking your team, your mixologists, your waiter, your mentors.
And I'll never shut up about it.
100%. I think I think that is very beautiful to hear and very very
Thank
I can
you.
sense
Thank
the
you.
appreciation you have for them. So yeah, I'm very happy for that. I'm also very happy that you won the award. So you were the first Asian
Yeah.
to win, or were you the first Asian with all Asian dishes to win? Which one?
I am the first Asian and the first Asian to represent Asia with Asian dishes to win this competition. As of 2024, it will be 46 years old. So it will be the first time in 45 years that Singapore has achieved such an accolade. And just a little trivia, it will be only the second time Singapore was chosen to participate in this international competition. The first time we were in, we were an absolute threat because in 2022, the first time, Akin Low, a very good friend who works at Cure in Gyeongsap, they bagged second place international.
Second place. Wow, and that was the first time Singapore was in 2022.
And I would say in any kind of competition in the history of culinary competitions, culinary itself, Singapore will continue to be an absolute menace. Because if we don't win, we're gonna leave an impression because that's who we are.
That's beautiful. That's great. Okay, so let's go more into your experience, right? So what are the most unconventional dishes you have created so far?
You want to talk about the worst ones or the best one?
Whatever that comes to mind. What's the most unconventional?
I think we will start with the worst because I think I've covered it in an interview before. So Circle's Life has approached myself and it was pretty fun one. I was 10 years old. I was watching Iron Chef America on Food Network Asia when it was very, very popular. So I believe it was Bobby Flay or Masaharu Morimoto competing against another chef. So what was going on, like the main ingredient was peaches. So they're doing raviolis whereby they stuck very two thin layers of peaches that were sliced. I think it was some cured fish, and then they did a cold broth, very refreshing. I could imagine how it tastes now. Back then, not really. So I went to the supermarket to grab whatever was on discount. So it happened to be squid, like local squid that day. And then as well as strawberries and curly English parsley, the stuff on Pasta Mania,
Yeah.
whereby they put it on top of everything and no one touches it. So I grabbed the squid. I was 10 years old. I was like, let's be creative. Let's do something about it. I chucked it on the pan. I had luk Thai the other day at Bugis before like it renovated. Dark soy sauce, fish sauce, sugar, etc. I could remember it clearly because it was so bad. Like, don't quote me on it, but it was so bad. So Ken said it. Oh, my grandmother was home, by the way. My mom was like, would you like to cook dinner? I was like, okay, I can give it a try. I did it. I was standing on a stool, staring on top of my stove, barely reaching everything. And then I paired squid together with English parsley and overripe strawberries. It was only a few years whereby like food wars on anime came out,
Yeah.
like Shokugeki no Soma,
Uh-huh.
and you thought like sardine and peanut butter was a bad thing. Like this was next level. If the animators needed inspiration, I honestly, if in my ability, I wish that they give me a call. But this would have definitely made it. But it was so bad. And the
Yeah.
worst part, as mentioned, I undercooked the squid, and my grandmother just had to cook it like a champ.
Oh, damn. Okay.
So bad.
So you're 10 years old.
I was 10. I was 10. It was a disaster.
But it was good, man. At least you experimented, which is very
I
important
could
at a
have
young age. You know?
I could have killed somebody.
Hey, but your memory, so far, speaking to you, your memory is brilliant. Like it's like
Because it was
1,000
that
times better than mine.
fair to say that the experience was traumatic.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, you can remember every single instance. You know, like where someone is from, who is doing what. Yeah.
Not by choice.
All right. Oh, just for me to share my own anecdote. I think the first ever dish. Okay, don't. I'm not a chef or anything. You know, I'm not a
No,
subject.
no, please tell me about it. I love
I'm
to hear it.
I'm not a subject matter expert. You know, I not a connoisseur. You know, I don't know much about gastronomy and all this sort of stuff. But one thing I'll say is that from a very very young age, I have grown up learning to cook. It's a personal hobby of mine. I cook basically every day. You know, since I was a kid. Not by choice.
No way.
So
No way.
yeah, but no, I like I say, I'm not a chef or anything. You know, I just like to cook. I think my first ever dish that I basically maybe probably was around the same age that you've mentioned. I remember I was thinking what to cook. You know, I wanted to go out, get some dishes, and then I did a very simple one. I was like, okay, I locked in on beef stew, and well, I still can remember. Yeah, back then I let a few people try it, and I made a huge mistake. I put too much salt.
Savable mistake. You wouldn't kill anybody from salt. You kill somebody from undercooked squid, but not salt. But not salt.
Yeah, but yeah, I just had to be a champ. I could go through it, but I don't know the people that I shared with, like family and stuff. I don't think they could. But it was good. I'm just sharing like an experience that is sort of a bit relatable to yours. That it didn't go so
Thank
well
you.
at
Thank
a young
you.
age.
Yeah.
And yeah, cooking. I love cooking as well, but I'm no expert at what. Yeah.
No
So
one
yeah.
is. No one ever will be. Truth.
Okay, so
Mhm.
okay, you have a kitchen now. So I wanted to ask.
Just a quick one. I remember back when I was younger, I was going through an incredibly tough period in my life where I had no one to talk to about my problems. There was no place I could share my honest thoughts and feelings because I was just so afraid of being judged by people. And I realized that was so bad for my mental well being. It's like bottling up everything and just waiting for a day where it all explodes. So, no, we're not gonna let that happen for you. Because my team and I have developed a free social app called Huddle.so where you can share all your problems anonymously, whatever is currently on your mind that's bothering you, whatever is making you upset or giving you sleepless nights. This is a non-toxic app where you can just be yourself, heal, and make many wholesome friends that will be there for you to support you during difficult times. The app is currently available on iOS at the moment, so good news for iPhone users. But we are working really hard to get an Android version out as soon as we can, so we don't miss out on the rest of you. So trust me, download the app, give it a shot, and I guarantee you that your future you will thank you for taking care of yourself. I'll put the link in the description below as well, and I'll see you in Harvest.
Yeah, there are a lot of
Yeah.
shows like Hell's Kitchen, Gordon
Yeah.
Ramsay.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people know how it it goes on there. Especially sometimes it's a bit in a way exaggerated or sensationalized. On TV especially. But
Mm-hmm.
how would you compare your kitchen to that of TV shows? Like MasterChef or Hell's Kitchen. What's the environment like?
Each and every single individual kitchen, from my experience, is absolutely different.
Mhm.
The energy that the food is put out in, the stuff that conglomerates is an entire different kind of thing. I've been very fortunate enough to be working in a couple of restaurants. Some are very recognized, some not so much. However, I do honestly feel that the media industry has portrayed the kitchen in a manner whereby it can be somewhat very, very negative. I don't feel that way. My kitchen experiences somewhat have been extremely rewarding. In most cases, I wouldn't say in all cases, to be fair, like in most cases. However, just like every other job, you have to put in the work to it's an environment that I feel is rewarding because you really get to see the fruits of your labor. And in one word to say, I feel it's extremely therapeutic. With the
Okay.
right company, that helps to guide you, helps to guide your character, helps to guide how responsible you are. Because just a little sidetrack. I made this sauce called a perchik sauce. Back when I was in a newly minted one-star restaurant called Seroja. So we serve food of the Malaya archipelago under Chef Kevin Wong. Hi, if you see this. So I'm super indebted to Chef Kevin for letting me have a hand at this recipe. So this recipe had about 24 different ingredients.
Mm.
So this recipe, I had to start from 9 a.m. in the morning. It'd be only ready at 4 o'clock. It's one of those sauces that told you it was ready.
8 a.m. to 4 o'clock.
9 a.m. to 4
9
p.m.
a.m. to 4 p.m. Okay.
9 a.m. to 4 p.m. You had to slowly caramelize. I can't give away too much. So
Yeah. Of course. Don't have to.
if I yeah, I'm just
Don't
kidding.
worry.
So we had to slowly caramelize lemongrass. It's a like Malayan style barbecue sauce. So we start with like a little bit of lemongrass. We caramelized it, and to caramelize lemongrass, if you fry something at a very high temperature, you get a certain complexity. But if you cook something really low and slow till its desired temperature, you get all the complexities, especially for plants, from the duration where it's 0 to that cooking temperature. So this is that kind of sauce where you need that kind of, in my limited vocabulary, you need that kind of love.
Mm-hmm.
You need to understand the lemongrass, you need to understand the blue ginger to get from here to there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually rewarding because your dish, your sauce, your meats, your vegetables, your final product will tell you how much love you have shown to the product. And the truth is, if you don't, most of the times, more often than not, there's a price to pay. However, it teaches you to be disciplined in putting care and effort to your dishes. This is something I really enjoy in every kitchen. I've worked in a ramen restaurant. You took care of tonkotsu ramen, pork bone broth. You have to scrub this pig bones, sometimes the skull,
Mm.
because the brain gives the collagen to the soup. You have to scrub the teeth with a shoe brush.
Yeah.
After blanching it in vinegar, you have to consistently stir it every 20 minutes for 3 days. You have to rest it at night in a pot big enough so that it doesn't cool to a point whereby bacteria starts to eat it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put onions and garlic at the last point. I've been rewarded by really understanding the depth of how your patience and understanding will be rewarded.
Mm.
And I feel like this is a lot of the gist of the kitchen nowadays that people don't understand. Uh, Truth be told, in Singapore, people are not paid very well in kitchens. We are considered blue-collar workers. You know, insurance scheme is different. We're not paid very high. Even if you have a bachelor's degree from Culinary Institute of America, your first job would probably be a chef de partie. Your pay would be starting from 2008 to 3002. You are looking at people who are finishing their bachelor's in engineering, paid 5 and above with commissions and extras. But you'll be rewarded with something different. And the environment is harsh. Your ankles will hurt, your wrist will hurt, your neck will hurt. But at the end of the day, if you're doing it for the love of it, I would say there's nothing better in being able to do something you love and call it your job. Will it be like Hell's Kitchen? Sometimes, on very bad days, once every couple of years, but never really like that. In Singapore, food is too expensive because it's all imported. For anyone to smash a piece of salmon because it's undercooked, don't worry about it.
No, that's fantastic. I mean, very very interesting. Thanks for sharing the wealth of experience. But I can really understand, like when you said, the patience, the care, the understanding as you get more experience. It really shows, right? It really shows because it's like an art also, right? The palate, how the customer or the client, they taste your food. They can really feel, how is it being prepared. Like you said, 9 to 4 p.m. Some even few days, like you mentioned. And I mean,
Correct.
me personally, some of the best food I've had is always, like you said, the considerable time and effort that someone puts in. Like I said, also when like when you boil like certain kinds of food, it takes time to, like you said, to go through the whole spectrum, right?
Oh
Of
my
that that
goodness,
that
you
that
get me.
that flavor.
You get me.
100%, 100%. I mean, I don't know why.
Thank you.
So no, definitely, I understand. And also to speak about the topic of whether it's like Hell's Kitchen or that. I mean, like that's media and stuff like that. But
Correct.
we cannot shy away from it. Also, it can be a very fast-paced environment.
Yes.
I would know it personally because I've been a waiter, I've been a bartender, I've been a barista since
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
since
yeah.
I was kid. Part time. That's what I've done. To pay off like student debt and all that kind of stuff. So I understand how it can get pretty tough, especially when it's peak times and then there's a lot of customers and then sometimes mistakes are made. Chef, they have to. Everyone is in their own space, and sometimes mistakes. Although like every other industry, like sometimes you don't mean
Yeah.
it, but in the moment, yeah, but it's not a everyday sort of thing. So yeah, it's good to be realistic, and it's also good to understand that it's not like sunshine and rainbows for all
Yeah,
industries,
yeah,
right? You
that's
got to go
true.
through the tough work.
Yes. I'd like to pose a question to you. Like, I briefly recall you saying that you've been a bartender for a while. I'm pretty sure you've like had your fair share of making good cocktails, like like old fashioned on Negronis with like blended vermouths re-aged in certain stuff like that. So how do you feel about it when like you're in a bar, you put your heart and soul into making a drink, and you come up with a fantastic menu for an experience, and some half-ass smash guy comes up to you and is like, "Give me a vodka soda," and he clicks his fingers. Like, has that ever happened to you?
Okay, when I
Uh-huh.
mentioned that I've been a waiter, everything basically all rounder,
Mhm. We
waiter.
need more of people like you in the industry, hands down, please.
No, that was back then. I was a student. So okay,
Mm-hmm.
bartender. I have to be honest. Is I don't have much experience with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think back then I had my first experience was in. I was working. I was a kid, man. I was like what, a teenager or something. I was working in Clarke Quay. I don't want to say the name of the restaurant.
Fantastic place. People are happy most of the time.
Yeah. So honestly, I was out. That was like how long? That was probably like a decade or more. Back then. I can't
I
I
would
can't
assume at least 8 years.
more than that, and I can't remember.
Shit.
Uh,
No way.
and I can't really remember the recipes back then. I was just being taught
Uh-huh,
a
uh-huh.
select
Yeah, yeah.
few, and then I help
Uh-huh.
out. I help out when I'm not waiting. to actually make the cocktails and make the drinks. So I can't really answer your question in that. But the drinks that I made back then were good enough. I didn't thankfully get any complaints. Uh, but no, overall
For
it
10
was.
years ago, you very nice. I got a lot of complaints.
I mean, I I made a lot of. That's just bartending. I made a lot of mistakes also.
Uh-huh.
When I was a waiter, when I was a
Mm-hmm.
barista, you have no
Mm.
idea the countless mistakes. Sometimes you just forget your brain. I don't know. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But okay, I mean, just on that note where you mentioned that you made mistakes. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
do you have any story to tell, like a funny mistake you made, like in a real experience?
I wouldn't say funny was the word. So
Yeah.
back then, where I so very, very passionately described you the sauce of like sauteing lemongrass till it's caramelized,
Yeah.
the sauce that took 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So what happened one day was that I think at the flick of a switch, my hip uh, bumped into the gas knob
Okay.
on the side. So it was a sauce that was supposed to be simmering slowly. You know how some stews and soups that
Yes.
require low heat, they ask you to do it low heat because you need like the whatever it is inside to boil like off like pretty slowly and considerably, as well as not too high heat because you lose the flavors, etc. So one day I bumped into it. It was I clearly remember this because it was such a horrible experience. Uh, Fine dining restaurants in Singapore typically open from Tuesdays to Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
So people rest Sunday and Mondays because they're not too busy. People are not very keen on going out Sunday, Mondays. So that's how it goes. So it was a Tuesday. My fridge was empty. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have too much emergency stock, but I had some. And then I was making the sauce. Same deal. 9 a.m. Like getting the stuff done. 3 o'clock, getting stuff meal ready. And then my hip just happened to bump into the stuff, or like for some whatever reason. I burnt my sauce
You burned the sauce.
and burnt to an unsavable extent because lemongrass, galangal, they are very low moisture products. You don't
Yeah.
they don't get bitter very easily compared to like garlics, onions, fresh chilies, etc.
Mm-hmm.
I burnt it good. I burnt it good so bad that when I went to the bathroom, I came back, I smelled it, I was like, like that's it. Like you question divinity. You're like, God, why am I here? What have you done? Why do I deserve this? That kind of moment. So yeah, worst mistake I've ever made. Bumped into something, got busy with something else, didn't check it, didn't attend to something, and it taught me a lesson. Next morning, I was woke up 5:45 a.m., get dressed 6 o'clock, went to Geylang Serai, bought the stuff, lugged it to the restaurant, 8 a.m., 8:30, start again.
Oh, they need to invent something for the knob, yeah, to lock it in.
To say the least, I'm not so sure, but it's designed to be. I don't know. I wouldn't fault it. I would say it's just a me thing, but I would say, like I mentioned, I feel like restaurants develop a lot of characteristics. Like at that point in time, you could think, like, hi, how would I like in my competition as well? To be very frank, to share another experience, I went to Monaco. I was told by a couple of people like you don't have to worry, like it's an international hub. Everyone comes there. And there's F1, like if you want Asian cuisine, there should be Asian food. Like oyster sauce, shaoxing, belacan, everything. In the end of the day, I sent a list of couple, like maybe just like 40, 60 ingredients. Uh, I got less than 20 settled.
Wow.
And I was like, oh crap, what must I do now? Thank goodness the very typical Singaporean in me was like, like, if you are kiasu, you don't you don't lose a thing. It's better to be over prepared. So I actually shipped the entire Geylang Serai for a fee of $600 for extra baggage off to Monaco, and
Wow.
managed to get everything there.
Okay, that's
So
good.
yeah, so honestly, like, whew, yeah, I feel like there is a certain level of extent that mistakes can be made, but more so I feel it's about your being that decides how it's supposed to end up. You could have but I think it's something as somebody who works in the kitchen for a very long time is that you are required to create a dish. It's part of a set menu, it's not an a la carte.
Mm.
However, the weather is terrible, it's been raining, your leaves are spoiled. What do you do with it? Are you gonna cry about it? Or like is this your kind of opportunity to dig a little bit deeper within yourself and tell yourself like, hey, I could do something about this.
Mm.
And I feel it's a very, very important aspect that we decide to pick ourselves up at this point of time and be like, yeah, sure, go for it. Like, cry about it. Like, no one knows the amount of shots you've taken to be like, oh my goodness, my life sucks. Like, I'm sure everybody goes through that phase, but it's more like a like, what do you choose to do after that? Like, do you pick yourself up? Do you go grab something? Do you grab a solution? Do you think of how to get it over and done with? Or are you just gonna let somebody else do it and then like blame yourself? Like, yeah, sure. But most importantly, I think that it was a fantastic lesson. Like making a mistakes are excruciatingly essential to part of a chef's growth in every extent. I'm pretty sure to every industry as well.
Mm.
Yeah, thanks for asking. It's a question I never asked myself. It's the first time I've answered such a question. So thanks for asking.
No, that's good. That's good. I mean,
Yeah,
I
thank
mean,
you. I
well
really
said.
appreciate it.
Well said. Well said. I think what I can derive from it is that excellence is one of my favorite quotes. Actually, excellence is not a skill. Excellence is an attitude. And I think from what you have mentioned the past few minutes is that it shows that when you fall down, it's an attitude that what are you gonna do about it? Are you gonna pick yourself up? Are you gonna find a solution to the problem? What are you gonna do about it? And to be very frank, um, we all make mistakes, right? And I think mistakes are good to make because then you
Mm-hmm,
learn, you get better. I mean, obviously, you
mm-hmm.
wouldn't want to make the same mistake twice because you want to learn from the first mistake you made and
For
get better.
sure.
But yeah,
Mm,
100%. I think I resonate a lot with what you've mentioned. And okay, so I mean, let's move on. So you've talked about like Asian cuisines. You talked about Peranakan. You talked about the Malayan
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and all those sort of stuff. Is there a sort of like a particular place or country which a cuisine from a country that you are looking to explore further?
Oh wow, Viano, you're asking the toughest questions on
Really?
earth. Like really, like as a person who loves eating, I felt that I haven't fully even explored enough of Singapore's culinary culture. We have like Little India, we have what
Mm,
8, 9 shops in Tekka Center.
mm.
We these guys slugging it out in like a 40-degree kitchen, bare hands without gloves and anything, chucking you a garlic flatbread and stuff. But I don't know. The more you know, the more you don't know.
Yeah.
I think it will be throwing back to my experiences whereby if I want to explore out of Singapore,
Mm,
thankfully in Singapore we have a lot of sub-region cuisine in Singapore, like China's up and coming,
yeah.
where we used to have not too much, just like Shanghainese cuisine, because it's comfortable and edible, like all the xiao long baos, and then
Mm.
suddenly Sichuan came in with
Oh yeah.
like a boot to the door with the mala xiangguo and like with Hai Di Lao and like stuff that's went then on. Then now we have like a total of 3 different franchises with 27 different styles of Hunan cuisine.
Mm.
You're asking where to explore, I don't know how to start, but honestly it boils down to experience. So me and my partner's a pastry chef. So
Mm.
she used to be
Wonderful.
from one, now 2 Michelin-starred Meta restaurant. So after we got a house, decided to take a break. We were invited by a dear friend of mine. His name is called Long. So
Mm.
Long invited us to Vietnam to Legu de Za. That means the second house of Za. Za means house in Vietnamese.
Mm.
So we were invited to Vietnam to cook a 6-course meal in a Michelin established wine bar. Fantastic, had a great time. First time we went to Vietnam, that was the second trip to Hanoi. First time we went to Hanoi, it was, like you go and Google you have the tourist attractions.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came back the second time, I grabbed my phone and I was like, hey, like to the head chef, his name is Fook, fantastic guy, lovely, lovely person. I was like, hey Fook, I had this the last time. It was really, really nice. He was like, bro, like fuck off, like buzz off, like you have no idea. Like, do not ever trust the stuff on Google. When you're in Vietnam, when you're in Asia, do not look at Google.
Yeah.
So one of my fondest memories was actually sitting at the back of his bike with a beer in my hand, phone on the next, vlogging stuff. Brought me to a skewer mincemeat like lemongrass banh mi.
Yeah.
So like banh mi in Vietnam is like called like banh mi.
Mm.
So he asked for something like he asked for a serving of it, got the baguette, got it off the charcoal, opened it, took a skewer, slapped it on, chuck it. It's like, here you go. No plastic bag, no paper, nothing. Have it right now.
Yeah.
And that was like probably one of the best thing I ever had. And he
Wow.
was like, what's the name of the shop so I could like, get it to my friends? He was like, no, you can never find it on Google.
Mm-hmm.
This vendor will be moving from place to place every single day. You need to know them to know where they are on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays. That are the
Wow.
kinds of places, like super uncharted category. Another one was experience in Seoul. So I have a food writer friend, her name is Xia. I proudly got to know her from Zook once again.
Nice.
Back when I was
Brilliant.
in national service. And yeah, so she took us around in Korea. We had 3 rounds of drinks, and the most authentic experience I've ever had was to get super smashed.
Mm.
We had 3 rounds, 3 rounds of drinks. So we started at a wine bar, we went for Korean barbecue, and then we went to a club.
Wow.
I was absolutely destroyed. I blacked out in the car. She had to send me back. Like it was that bad. Next morning, I woke up with such a raging hangover. But the thing is, she was like, she was ready for it. So she sent me a message right before like she went to sleep. It was like a 4 a.m. kind of thing, over 11 a.m.
Yeah.
I was like, oh crap, like where on earth am I?
Yeah.
So it was a Google map pinpoint on Kamjatang, which was a preserved. Correct me if I'm wrong. If anybody
Yeah.
sees this, is a preserved mustard green kimchi, beef short rib stew, Kamjatang. In other words, hangover soup in Kannam. So we went to Kannam. We had the soup. I was like, some things are meant to be eaten a certain particular way where we never understand.
Yeah.
Like, how can rich Hong Kongese grown elderly tycoons drink heavily expressive Bordeaux wines while eating very delicately steamed fish in Hong Kong with superior light soy?
Mm-hmm.
Why does it work? We never know. But until we try it, we never know.
Mm.
So honestly, you're asking me where I want to explore next. I mean, throw something at me, man.
It's never ending, yeah. Never
It's
ending.
never ending.
Well, that's the
Like,
beauty of the world, man.
yeah. To be very frank, I'm sorry to say this. I can't answer your question.
No, that's fine. I mean, you've already answered in a different sort of way. But I mean, you have given me a different perspective as well. It's like when you're traveling, I think some of the best experiences are not the ones
Mhm.
that you find on Google, are the ones where you just happen to either you meet someone that knows some place, or you somehow bump into a restaurant that or a food place or cafe or whatever, or food
Or you
store
meet someone
off by
from
the
Zook.
street. Yeah, or someone from Zoom. These are experiences that out of nowhere, and then you get a shock of your life, right? Not all the best things are found on Google reviews. So I really
True, absolutely.
enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so we are nearing towards the end. So okay, this should be a very, very good question. Uh, if you're to host a foreign friend in Singapore, what
Let me guess.
places or what foods
Where
will
am I
you
supposed to bring
recommend?
them to eat?
Yes, exactly.
Here's my.
Yeah.
Can I answer your question with a question?
Why not?
As a professional, I need to ask this so that it helps to facilitate like the best kind of experience.
Mm-hmm.
What is your budget?
Wow, that's a very, 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 very good question. I think
Mm-hmm.
what for the day or for the meal?
It can be both. Because like to be very frank, there are very, very selective Michelin star restaurants around the world where you need to pay, let's say, Noma, for example. Noma takes about 500 euros per customer minimum for an average menu. And also, they have a minimum requirement of about 150 to 200 euros for beverage pairing, which is consistent in their experience cost, which means you're paying at least about 700 euros per person in Noma. I mean, feel free to debate because the prices differ according to season, but according to statistics, this is what I've been researched. But other times, the banh mi I've had with a beer in one hand and the toast on the other without anything at the back of a bike. Yeah, $1.35 Sing. The beer is 75 cents. The banh mi is one. The $1.75. Yeah, there you go.
So okay, let's split the answer. Let's split my answer to your question to two parts, right? Let's say the first one is you already know, right? Is let's say you're on a budget, you want to try out good local food. Not a very huge budget, right? Let's say what? Let's say Singapore context. Let's say $30. $30 for the day.
Can I recommend like 3 places? In a sense, I'll give you breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But you need to up the budget to maybe 50.
50, that's fine.
So for 50 is a very good amount. People underestimate the amount of how a little bit more money in Singapore could get you to a lot of places. So I'll start with one of my favorite, like people in Singapore relate Ya Kun Kaya toast, the style of breakfast, to be the perfect Singaporean breakfast. Open to debate, but I feel it's the most iconic kind of a breakfast. However, somewhere that is featured on our grandfather's story called Hap Sak Leong, it's along Beach Road, has been serving charcoal grilled Hainanese style, so the orange kaya, like kaya toast for the longest time, and they blend their own coffee beans. And the signature is actually the kaya toast set with kopi guyu. So guyu means butter. So they add a knob of very authentic Singaporean preferred SCS butter to their coffee. So you emulsify it, you have it. It's like it smoothens out the ratio of like the astringency, the acidity of the coffee. It doesn't make the condensed milk too sweet. And the guy, the man, the myth, the legend, in the shorts and slippers and a singlet, he does it to the T. Absolutely the best, and it's super retro. So it's a kind of style whereby you have antiques all over the shop, the fence dusted in muck, wires lying everywhere, rented partial of the shop to like a kakak who is selling epok. Amazing stuff. Absolutely influential and super immersive. If you want to know a better way to get there, it's actually right next to Hill Street Thai Hua Pork Noodles at Beach Road. It's just right around the corner. So if you're feeling like super hungry, you could go for pork noodles first and then followed by kaya toast. First location. So next location for lunch or brunch, as featured in one of my little series prior to the pop-up I had at Modern Singapore Duxton, Sinar Pagi Nasi Padang. Nasi Padang, you find a lot of different kind of things. They're at Joo now because Geylang Serai is under renovation till November. So they'll be at Joo for a while. One dish you need to try, beef tendon. Beef tendon slowly broiled in lemak chili padi.
Wow.
Like, man, I like when I had it first, I smacked the table. I was like, oh my goodness, like holy crap. Like what is this thing? Like, for like Chinese food is very textural. We have the same seasoning for literally every single fish. We don't think too much about it. Ginger, garlic, like hua tiao jiu, sesame oil, superior soy sauce, like that's it. But these guys, they took something that we didn't really give too much damn about other than texture and took it to another level, and they are consistent.
Mm.
And there's never, I have never seen them without a queue. And they sell out by literally like 1:30 p.m.
Wow.
And they are amazing. And then if you're done, take a stroll. If you want to have Yakun Kaya from comparison, it's really nearby. There's one at Paleba Square near where my gym is. And then you need to head to Alexandria, whereby very, very world famous, world renowned.
Mm.
Okay, before I throw this recommendation to you, what is your favorite zi char in Singapore?
Oh, hey, I think I'm not the most Singaporean guy, to be very frank. Okay, give me some examples of zi char. Like, give me some examples.
If you head to a coffee shop, what's the one dish that you order?
The thing that springs to my mind is
Bro, you atas.
I don't know why. When I was in army, I just ordered basically two things all the time: salted egg chicken rice, 煎蛋鸡饭.
No way, no way. I
I
know the
always
guy.
I always go Loyang Point back then. Always.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I always 加饭加 everything, 加肉加 everything.
As you deserve. As you deserve, sir.
The other one that I always order is I forgot what's it called in Chinese. My Chinese is very bad.
Likewise.
Black
I'm guilty.
pepper. Black pepper. Is it beef or chicken? Black pepper.
Definitely beef.
I think it's black pepper beef, right? Yeah.
Done.
I think.
Is it like $5 or $8?
How that acts? I think 5 or 6.
Chicken.
Then maybe yes. It's either one. I just can't remember now. My memories have been fading lately.
Okay.
Beef is $8. Okay, I didn't know. I don't know
Yeah,
much
yeah,
about the
yeah.
prices now, and I just came back to Singapore
Mm-hmm.
not long ago. Yeah. So
So,
yeah.
in your mind, zi char would be mostly takeaway, if I'm not wrong,
Yes.
prior to being in here. So, in Singapore, in the recent times, certain particular zi char chain has been getting a lot of influence and a lot um, media media coverage, rightfully so. To all the other zi chars, it's not that I don't love you guys, but the hospitality in this zi char brings the true Singapore experience, because in Singapore, I feel like it's not just the food. At times, it's about hosting, bringing people, showing them, talking to people. Paul Liu, King in Key Alexandria, if you're hearing this, I've seen you way too many times, and it's the best way. And in my Young Chef, Young Waiter online interview in the preliminary rounds, they asked me if I had one dish before I died, what would it be? Serving close to 300 customers a day, takeaway as well as dine-in, I would say clay pot pork liver rice. Most common looked over commodity in Singapore. King Key Seafood Alexandria takes the cake.
Okay.
Takes the cake.
All right.
You have to have that one dish. And also, if you have the stomach for it, they do an excellent marbled gobi. Singapore, we call it Soon Hock.
Yeah.
So it's this fish that is relative to, the texture is in between a cod and a grouper. If you deep fry it at an extremely high heat with a lot of skill, the fins get very crispy. You could eat them whole. So they do a sauce where they emulsify pork lard together with black pepper, Worcestershire, oyster sauce, scallion oil, ginger, and it just makes the whole thing sing. I think two of the dishes I extremely recommend over there. And you know what's the best part is, sometimes his dad, like a third generation owner, I think he's the fourth generation owner, come out, say hello, talk to you, have some fun. My first experience was hosting a Korean team from Botanic Garden, from Seoul in Korea. They're a bit late because there's a flight delay. Sat down there. It was like 10:30. the whole team waited for us. They brought us around the kitchen. It was such a huge honor and pleasure. Michelin recommended since like 2017, 2019.
Mm.
Like, oof, the level of, like, the food is good, definitely. A lot of zicas serve like fantastic food. But the hospitality, Mamma mia, it takes the cake.
Yeah.
Paul greeted us with a Glenfiddich 18
Wow.
at the end of the meal, and he told us in a very, very, very Singaporean manner, censor this if you need to. He was like, bo ta bo lam pa.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Man, like, like to us maybe it might sound vulgar and crude, but to too many people, like to us, like I mentioned, like we've been to Korea, we've been to Vietnam, like I've been to Korea, I've been to Vietnam. Something I really do enjoy consuming is not really just food, it's also culture. And these three places, the generosity, the hospitality of the certain particular individual, as well as the focus, how locked in on their craft, yeah, it really, really, really encapsulates my focus on them, and I really, really, I, I betray a lot of the tasks that I've gone back and forth, but these places takes the cake.
Beautiful. Yeah, no, I think I really agree with that. I mean, it's not only the food itself, it's the hospitality, like you mentioned, the word that you brought up 10 times. I think, yeah, it's very important. I think some of the best experiences I've
For
had.
$50.
Exactly. So some of the
And for $50, if you don't take Grab.
Yeah, so some of the best experience I've had is like you say, hospitality. It's like also, when the chef comes out and takes the time to explain, the dishes, speak to you, or like say, like for yours, grace you with a Glenfiddich and say what he has said. The culture also, like you said, very, very
Oh, we were so
wonderful
smashed. We
experience.
were teaching Korean people how to chug beer with ice because the weather is too warm here all the time. And we're like, we're done, we're going home, the guest shift is tomorrow. We have an 8 course, we have a full house, 1.5 turns. And it's like, guys, you don't understand. Like stay a while. Walks back to the kitchen, goes to the freezer, chucks out a bottle of whiskey, gets a few glasses, and like, I know where this is going.
Solid.
Yeah. The more you know, the more you don't know. Stay curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is leaving me in pursuit of everything I'm in pursuit of today.